this is Catherine Witherell again, and I haven't posted a video for a while, but I am still fasting. I'm still here. Today is officially day 13, so I've completed 12 days so far, and I'm in the middle of day 13. So this video will be for about days 8 through 13 or something like that. I began the fast at 133.8 pounds, and I am now 118.8 pounds for a total loss of officially 15 pounds. So that feels really great, and it's really exciting to me because I got to try on a bunch of clothes yesterday that I hadn't been able to fit into in quite a long time, and including a couple of dresses that I really love, and I was able to zip them up in the back, so that was really exciting. And I think I look really good in them, and I just like looking at myself in the mirror. I think my face looks thinner. I don't know if you can tell or not. At the end of the video, I'm planning on posting some before and after pictures, even though it's not officially after. I took some pictures at around day 9, I want to say. So that would be after 9 days of fasting. So you can kind of see a change there. I'll take some more pictures after I'm done, and hopefully you'll be able to see an even bigger change. It's been pretty easy, except for, I don't want to say easy, but it hasn't been super difficult. Except for a couple days, I want to say days 9 and 10 or 10 and 11 or something like that. My husband was gone for a short business trip, but it was just really hard on me to not have him there, and also, obviously, I didn't have a comfort food that I could kind of, use to calm myself and to feel happy. Retrospectively, I can't believe I didn't turn to the Lord more and pray and read my Bible and take comfort in Him more than I did. But that's what happened on those days. As soon as he got back, I felt awesome again, and I snapped out of it. And after that, it's been going pretty well. I had ketones in my urine every day, between medium and large, mostly large, so that's really good. I mean, you'd expect that. You're in ketosis, you're burning fat, you're burning your body fat for fuel. You're not burning any sugar because you don't have any sugar coming into your body. So for 3 days in a row, a few days ago, I lost 1 pound each. Before it was more than 1 pound. Before it was 2 pounds, 1.8 pounds, different things, but on 3 days in a row, it was 1 pound, and then the following day, the scale said that I gained 0.4 pounds, and I was like, how is that possible? So the next day, it said that I lost 1.8 pounds. So I'm sure it was just the scale messing up, or maybe I had extra water in me for some reason, who knows. But if you do see a gain while you're fasting, or you don't see a loss, just give it a day or two. I'm sure it'll rectify itself. There's no way that you can gain weight if you're not eating anything. My blood sugars have been excellent every day, between 70s and 90s every day, never up to 100. So they've been just excellent. And that's the range that I want to keep my blood sugars all the time. That's really the ideal range. It's the range that non-diabetics stay in all the time. And if diabetics don't want complications from their diabetes, if they don't want, getting feet amputated and things like that, they really need to have the same blood sugars as non-diabetics. Because the blood sugar is the main difference that you can obviously see, and it's what can wreak havoc on a diabetic's body, is if your blood sugars are chronically high, if there's all this excess sugar in your blood doing all kinds of damage to everything in your body, limbs, kidneys, eyes, just everywhere in your body can be affected by those high blood sugars. So those have been excellent, and I haven't even needed any insulin. As I may have mentioned before, I think I'm still in the honeymoon period where my own body is making some of its own insulin, just not nearly enough. So if I'm eating anything, I need to inject extra insulin. But apparently if I'm not eating, then I don't need any. If I was, a completely full-on type 1 diabetic and I was making 0 insulin, I would probably need to inject a tiny, tiny amount of insulin just to keep my baseline good, even while I'm fasting. let's see, I'm still feeling cold. In fact, I'm in Florida. It's in the middle of August. Actually, it's the end of August now. Wow. And I'm in the shade, so it's not super hot, but I'm wearing this big t-shirt. I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see, these nice poopy sweatpants and socks. So I feel pretty good outside. Inside, I'm pretty cold, and I think the temperature is set at 78. Normally we have it set at 76. And I've even, a couple days when my husband was gone, I turned it up to 80, just so I wouldn't have to bundle up. But other than that, I've been feeling great. I've been taking my blood pressure. It's been anywhere, just really excellent range, between 100 and 110 over 60 to 70. So that's been excellent. And another thing, I have been craving food, from time to time, but it's not been overwhelming. I tell people, I'm not any more hungry right now than I might be if I skipped a couple meals, and that's it. Just because your body starts to get really efficient at using its own fat for fuel, and so you don't feel hungry all the time. I do feel hungry more often, but it's not that, gnawing, painful hunger that sometimes you feel if you skipped a couple of meals. But it's kind of cool. I have been craving savory food, not sweet food. A lot of times we crave, carbohydrates like breads and muffins and bagels, or maybe potato chips, or maybe it's, chocolate or some kind of dessert like that. And I really haven't been craving any of that. I've just been craving chili. What was the other one? Spaghetti squash. So I was Googling some recipes and kind of making some up in my head. And so definitely once I'm off of the fast and done with the refeeding, the first thing I'm going to make is some chili. So I'm really excited about that. But that'll be coming up in over a week from now. And I do plan to break the fast in about 2 days. So today's day 13. I'm planning to continue fasting day 14, 2 full weeks. And then I will break the fast the evening of day 15. And I was planning on doing anywhere from 12 to 14 days of fasting, but I've been feeling fine. I haven't been feeling desperate to eat. So I thought, why not make it 2 full weeks instead of 12 days? So that's my plan. And I'm planning to take a full week for refeeding. I'm planning to start very slowly, liquids at first. I'm not planning to eat fruit, or a lot of people I see breaking their fast with watermelon, and I guess that's fine if you want to kick yourself out of ketosis, which is the very thing that makes fasting so great for you. I don't want to do that. I want to stay in ketosis. A lot of people lead a ketogenic lifestyle where they eat in such a way that they continue to produce ketones and they continue to reap the benefits of that fasted state without actually starving themselves and with eating. So that's my plan. I'm planning to also, beyond just eating ketogenic, for the first week as I'm breaking my fast, I want to do gluten-free, grain-free, caffeine-free, sugar-free, sweetener-free, that includes natural sweeteners and artificial sweeteners, and dairy-free for that first week of refeeding. And after that, I plan to continue doing grain-free and sugar-free, but if there's a sauce or something that I want to use that has a little bit of gluten in it, I'm not going to worry about it. If I see a drastic change in any way of being affected by the gluten after not having any gluten for 3 weeks, then I may reconsider. The same for the dairy. I'll have been off dairy for a full 3 weeks, 2 weeks of fasting plus 1 week of refeeding. So if I start adding dairy back in and then I see adverse effects, then obviously I will consider cutting out dairy from my diet for good, or at least for longer until my gut can heal. Caffeine-free. I'm planning to drink some coffee, but caffeine-free kind of coffee. So that's my plan for kind of how I want to eat that first week. And I also plan to continue intermittent fasting for the rest of my life, hopefully. Intermittent fasting is where you fast for a certain number of hours in the day, and then you only eat during a smaller window during the day. So instead of having, the whole day to be eating breakfast and then a snack and then lunch and then a snack and dinner and dessert and, all these different snacks, just have a smaller window where you commit to not eating the rest of, the first part of the day or the last part of the day. It doesn't really matter, whatever works best for you. I think what's gonna work for me pretty well is I don't usually get really hungry for breakfast. I know some people do, but unless I'm expecting to eat breakfast, I don't feel hungry until maybe about 2 p.m. So my plan is to have some coffee at that point with some butter, and I blend it up in a blender, maybe some coconut oil too. It's called Bulletproof Coffee. There's a whole Bulletproof Coffee diet you can, or maybe it's just Bulletproof Diet you can look up. But it's delicious and you don't need any kind of sweetener, which is great. So I'll do that. I'll drink 1 cup of that at around 2 p.m. and then I'll just eat dinner with my husband, and then he can help keep me on track as far as how much I want to eat so I don't overeat. And like I said, I want to do a ketogenic diet indefinitely, and I don't plan to forego all desserts forever. I do plan to stay sugar free, but I do have some natural sugars or natural sweeteners that I like to use. I try to stay away from Splenda, which is sucralose, aspartame, which is equal, and definitely, what's the other one? Sweet and Low, which is saccharin. And there's probably some other ones, but those are some of the 3 main ones. The Sweet and Low would be the pink packet, the Equal would be the blue packet, and then the Splenda would be the yellow packet that a lot of times I have at restaurants. So I try to stay away from those. But I do use erythritol quite a lot. It is technically a sugar alcohol, but it does not affect your blood sugar at all. Unlike maltitol, which is the worst. It is probably about 50 to 60% of the sweetness of the glycemic index of sugar. So if sugar raises your blood sugar, this much, then maltitol only raises it this much, but it still raises it. So I don't consider that to be a great alternative. And also it gives you horrible bloating, and sometimes it can give you diarrhea or gas. So it's really not good at all. But erythritol is good, stevia is good, monk fruit is good. I don't notice as much of a sweetening effect, but it is definitely natural and not bad for you. So that's my plan. I'll use those in some desserts from time to time, but I'm going to try to limit the amount of desserts. I don't want to have a dessert after dinner every single night like I have in the past. Try to limit it maybe to like a Friday night, or my birthday or something like that. So here is exactly what I plan to do for my breaking my fast, and I would read this to you on day 14 or 15, but with my track record, I'm not sure if I'll actually make a video then, although I will promise to make a video while I'm breaking my fast. I know everybody does that, and if I was breaking it with watermelon or something, you might see me start to cry because it's so sweet. Well, I'm gonna break it with just some plain broth. So probably chicken broth. I'm thinking of boiling some vegetables in the chicken broth. I may even, no, we'll stick with chicken broth. I'm not planning on doing any spices, so it's gonna be kind of bland. I don't know how spices would affect my body right now. It might be fine, I have no idea. But I'm gonna boil the vegetables in the broth and then strain out the vegetables and just leave the broth and hopefully any vitamins and minerals from the vegetables. So I'm gonna have 1 cup of broth on day 1 at dinner time, that's it. On day 2, I'm gonna have unsweetened almond milk, 1 cup of that at dinner, and that is it. On day 3 of refeeding, I'm gonna have decaf coffee with butter, churned up in a blender at 2 p.m. and then I'll have broth again at dinner, 1 cup of broth. I am planning to go dairy free, but I don't consider butter to be problematic like most of the other dairy products for people that have issues with dairy. So I am planning to use butter, but I'm not gonna have any cheese or any cream or sour cream or anything like that that I usually have until after the 7 days of refeeding. So on day 4, again, decaf coffee with butter at 2, 1 cup of that, unsweetened almond milk with egg yolk at dinner, 1 cup. Egg yolk is really good for you. It is something that is recommended even for babies. Sometimes small babies under 1 year can't have the whole egg, they can't have the white because that can sometimes be problematic, but the yolk is okay. And the white is kind of nutritionally deficient. So I'm just gonna do, and again, it might be problematic for a stomach that's not used to it yet, or not used to a lot of solid foods, just like a baby that's used to only, mother's milk. So that's the reasoning behind that. Day 5, decaf coffee with butter at 2, 1 cup, and 1 avocado at dinner. And I'm very excited because avocado is amazing, and I'm gonna have that at dinner, so I can't wait for day 5 of refeeding. Day 6, decaf coffee with butter at 2, and then at dinner I'm gonna have some very overcooked broccoli and cauliflower with some butter and 1 cup of that. So the broccoli and cauliflower we mixed up, overcooked, so very, very soft. Day 7, coffee at 2, and then I want to have some tilapia fish at dinner. I might start to incorporate a little bit of salt at some point here. And then day 8, I'm going to have coffee at 2, and then I'll have regular dinner with my husband, whatever we have for dinner that night. And then after, every day after that, I plan to have coffee at 2. Again, I might start having caffeinated coffee after the refeeding period, but for the refeeding period of 7 days, I'm going to have decaf coffee. And I plan to continue doing coffee with butter in it because it's delicious and I don't need any kind of sweetener. I think it's good to stay away from sweeteners, even the natural non-nutritive sweeteners like erythritol that I mentioned, just to help your body not to crave something sweet all the time. Because even the sweeteners, they're bad for you, but they're not something you want to base your diet off of either. So anyway, every day after the refeeding, I plan to do coffee at 2 and a regular dinner with my husband. And then if things change, if I have some friends that want to go out for breakfast one day, or we have a lunch at church or something like that, then I'll make that meal my meal for the day, and I won't eat dinner. And that way I can still keep that intermittent fasting where I have that large number of hours where I don't eat anything, and then a small window where I do eat something. And I think that will help me to keep this weight loss off. I also have my mom and sister that we're all trying to lose weight together before my sister's wedding. So hopefully that will also help motivate me to keep the weight off. And we've been checking in with each other every single day as to what our weight is that morning. So that'll keep me immediately accountable. So I'm very excited about that. A few funny little things about fasting, or tips about fasting. When I obviously, I have my husband and my 2 little kids, and they need food. So when I've been cooking for them, sometimes, you get food on your fingers, and normally I would just, lick it off. But being fasting, I won't even lick my own fingers. I won't lick the bowl, which is very, very tempting, especially if there's no one around to lick it for me. I just feel like there's this delicious food going down the drain. I can't do this. And of course, sometimes it's very difficult because I don't know how it tastes. So I'm cooking this for you, but I have no idea if it's any good or not. I have a pretty good idea it's gonna be good. But, so that's just something interesting. Confession time, I will tell you that I did taste some food, so I guess maybe I'm not technically fasting. But I was trying to mix up some, I have this big tub of full-fat yogurt for my 3-year-old daughter. And I was taking that, I was adding some sweetener to it and adding some strawberries to it to make it taste good for her. And I didn't know if it was going to be sweet enough for her or not. And I didn't have my husband there to help. So I just licked a tiny, tiny bit off my finger to see if it, if I thought she would like it. And I didn't think she would like it at first, so I added a little bit more, licked that again, and then I thought this is pretty good. So then I gave it to her and she liked it. so that was good. But I didn't really crave anything. I didn't have all these cravings come whooshing back. Maybe because I'm craving something savory. I don't want all this sweet garbage. I mean, not that, you know, I was giving my daughter garbage, but I don't want something sweet. I want something savory. And also I made sure not to, you know, taste more than I needed to. I just had a tiny bit off my fingers 2 times. And at one point there was some left on my finger. I didn't get the whole thing, so I just washed that off because I didn't need any more. I knew how it tasted. So that's confession time for me. But fortunately, it didn't raise my blood sugar at all. I didn't see any impact, and I still lost weight the next day. So I don't think it affected me. It's definitely easier to fast when you're not around people eating. Oh my goodness. Not for your own cravings, but just, I went to a wonderful ladies' tea and lunch today, and they did an amazing job, and there's all these ladies from church that are just so wonderful, but they're all eating, and they're eating healthy food. You know, they had chicken salad with creamy dressing. It was amazing. But so I had several people, you know, asking me like, oh, you need to go get some food, or get in line, or you need to eat, or why is your plate empty? You need to go get something. So, you know, I had to explain to them, you know, I'm still fasting, or I'm fasting, and then they start asking you questions, and then they get this sort of shocked and horrified look on their face, like, what are you doing to yourself? Which is really funny because these are church people and they should be familiar with Jesus fasting for 40 days. But that's another topic. So it's definitely easier if you don't have to be explaining yourself all the time and having people look at you like you're a zombie. But you do what you have to do. You know, you just smile and say, you know, I'm doing okay, thanks anyway. I think people don't realize when they hear you're fasting and you've been fasting for 13 days, I think it shocks them a little bit, and they either are horrified that you would do such a thing to yourself and they think you're crazy, or they kind of put you on this pedestal of self-discipline and self-control, and it's really not like that. I think fasting for 13 days is a whole heck of a lot easier than restricting my diet to, you know, 1,200 calories a day or something like that, and being, you know, perpetually hungry and having to perpetually limit myself while still eating 3 meals a day or 5 meals a day or whatever it is that they recommend nowadays. It's so funny how the experts want to recommend that you, if you're trying to lose weight, they want you to eat all day long. It's like, wait, what? But anyway, that's another topic. So I think people just need to know that, you know, it's not easy, but it's not as hard as you might think. And I think more people should give it a try, and they see a lot of benefits. So I think that's about all I had to say. Sorry this video went so long, but I'm summarizing however many days now. So I'll try to post, I'll definitely post while I'm breaking my fast with the broth, and you can see on video how that goes, and I'll also post the kind of before and after pictures. So hopefully you can tell a difference, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.